Hi, I'm Tammy Miller, and I'd like to welcome you to a vlog that I am doing with Kylie Hollman. And Kylie is the founder of Health Coach Kylie. She is specializing in helping people to switch from unhealthy living. And she does this by focusing on the addition of healthy foods into people's diets to help them to become more healthy. So together, Kylie and I are going to be doing a series of vlogs, and we're going to be talking about stress and anxiety in various ways. We're going to be talking about sugar in various ways. So we're just going to start talking about different things. And if you have questions for us, do not hesitate to send them to us so that we know what they are. All right, welcome, Kylie. How are you today?
Thank you so much. I am doing fantastic. Thank you for that amazing introduction. I'm super happy to be here.
Excellent. So I want you to tell us, because we all say all the time, oh, I'm so stressed. But what actually is stress? This is kind of an ethereal idea, I think, for a lot of people. But really, what is stress?
So I know like everyone gets stressed and it's a common thing like, oh, I'm so stressed. I have so much going on, all of that. So stress, it's a medical or in a medical or biological context. Stress is a physical, a mental or emotional factor that causes bodily or mental tension. So stresses, they can be external, like the environment or psychological or social situations, or they could be internal from illness or like medical procedure.
Gotcha. So there are a lot of different things in our lives that can put that stress or that tension on our bodies.
Absolutely. A lot of different things can put us in a lot of stress mode.
Excellent. And we, like you said, we all feel it. So we know what that is. So you said that this is like a medical or psychological, biological thing that happens. So when we're talking about that, I would assume that that means that it does different things to different parts of the body when we're talking about things.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's just talk personally for a little bit, because everybody talks personally and this helps us to understand. So in general, when you're stressed, how do you respond to it?
Usually when I'm stressed, I feel it in my body. I feel super tense and emotional. Sometimes I get kind of cranky and irritable. I don't really want to do very much, and there's just so much going on. I feel like I can't handle it all, and it sometimes can affect how I sleep and if I want to have food or if I want to, like, what kinds of food that I want. And there's a couple of different ways that stress affects me, but those are the main ways. It kind of affects people in different ways, and some people it affects a little bit more. It really just also depends on how you deal with stress and if you have different ways to deal with that stress.
Perfect. I love it. All right. So I know that when I'm stressed, food is definitely a big one for me, which we're going to talk about. It might be in a future vlog, maybe not this one, but we're definitely going to talk about food. You're definitely going to talk about sleep, because that's another one for me. Is I get up at like 2 o'clock in the morning and then I can't go back to sleep, and I have these weird thoughts or dreams about things, and then I'm done for the night and I just can't go to sleep. All right, so first thing I want to do is I actually want to talk a little bit about the medical or the biological factors of this. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our stress hormone. So those of you who have seen our blogs, I introduced Kylie, and you've seen vlogs that I've done before, but I'm going to reintroduce myself. My name is Tammy Miller, and I am the owner of Sage Nutrition Coaching. I have a background in molecular biology, mycology, and biochemistry, as well as nutrition. So I'm going to go a little bit biological on us right now, and I'm going to talk about stress hormones. Okay, so we know we get stressed, but what does that do to the hormones in our body, and how can that affect our body? So we have this great stress hormone. You guys have probably heard about it. It's called cortisol. And cortisol is naturally in our body, and it's used in small amounts on a regular basis. And one of the things that it does is it controls blood sugar levels. Okay, so it makes sure that we have enough sugar in our body to be able to function in the way that we need to function. Okay, and it can get that from the liver because the liver stores it for us. It helps to regulate our metabolism, and it can change inflammation, and I'll talk about that one a little bit later. It can also assist in memory function. So when we are looking at this, we have to be thinking about, you mentioned, Kylie, that when you get stressed, you do different things. You feel emotionally stressed, or you want to cry, or you get different stresses. And part of that is because when we're stressed, our brain goes haywire. Have you ever felt that when you get stressed?
All the time.
All the time. Every time we get stressed, our brain goes a little bit haywire. And so here's the deal. Your brain functions and prefers to function on glucose. And so when you get stressed and your brain is trying to do multiple things, like let's say you've got a deadline coming up at work for a project, or you've got a deadline coming up in school for a major paper, something like that. You've got to use your brain. And so your brain is saying, hey, I need more glucose. And so cortisol is going to be released, and it's going to go to the liver, and it's going to have the liver release glucose so that the brain can be enhanced. Okay. And cortisol enhances how the brain uses glucose so that we can get through those stressful situations and we can make it through it. Okay. And when we look at that, it also reduces some of the non-essential things in our body when we're stressed. Like if I'm really stressed, I don't need to digest food. So it lowers my digestion of food. So cortisol affects us in a lot of different ways. Okay, releasing more glucose, having our brain use it better so that we can make it through. But have you ever noticed, Kylie, that when you are stressed, or when you get done being stressed, and I remember this specifically from being in school, as soon as finals are over, you get sick. Or when a stressful situation is done, you get sick. Did you ever, you're smiling and laughing, so I'm gonna guess, yeah, this has happened to you, right? Where you get stressed and then you get sick.
Yeah.
So here's what stress does, is stress lowers our immunity, lowers our ability to fight infections. And that's because cortisol, or corticosteroids, it's a type of steroid hormone, is suppressing the effectiveness of the immune system. And that's why I mentioned earlier, it lowers inflammation, because inflammation is your body's way of fighting a foreign object. They surround it, you get that inflammation, and it fixes the problem. Well, cortisol and stress say, that's not important. We got to focus on the brain. We got to focus on getting through this. It doesn't matter that we've been infected with a bacteria or a virus or whatever it happens to be. And so we get done and we don't have as many lymphocytes, white blood cells, our immune cells, and we don't fight our infections. So stress and our stress hormone also affects our immune system, which we all notice, we just don't know why. So that's one of the things that I love about it. Not so much. Okay, so it affects our immune system, but it also affects other things. Okay, so I want to turn it back to you, Kylie, and I want to talk, or I want you to talk a little bit about sleep. How does stress affect my ability to sleep? Because like I said, my big thing, I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm done.
Right. So sleep, it's super, super important. As we all know, we should get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single night. And a lot of us, we don't really get that. And that puts a lot of strain on our body. And so with sleep, it's really important to get an adequate amount of sleep. And that good night's sleep, it makes you be able to tackle the day a lot more easily. But if you don't get enough sleep, when you're really tired, then you're going to be a lot less patient. You're going to get more easily agitated, and that can increase your stress. And so, like I said, sleep is very, very important. And there are some things that you can do to sleep a little bit better and to help yourself sleep through the night. You mentioned that.
Please do tell me that. I need that.
You mentioned that you wake up at 2 o'clock and you can't get back to sleep. I had someone yesterday say that he had like really weird dreams, and he like didn't sleep very well through the night, and he had those really weird dreams, and sometimes he wouldn't even remember it. And he noticed that when he stopped eating red meat, those weird dreams went away and he slept better, which is really fascinating. So
interesting.
Yeah, so he was eating red meat like 3 to 4 times a week, and he cut it down to like 2 times a month, and he sleeps better, he feels better. His entire life has turned around because of the different foods that he's eating. So foods can really make a huge impact on everything in your life, especially sleep. And so I've got a couple different sleep tips that I can share to help people sleep a little bit better and not be as stressed. So one of the main things is to have a regular sleep schedule. And so you go to bed at the same time, you wake up at the same time every single day. Your body's going to get used to that. And eventually, like, I started doing this, and I started waking up at 6 o'clock, whether my alarm went off or not. And it sometimes gets even a little bit earlier. This morning I woke up at 5:45 just because my body woke me up at that time. And so having that regular schedule, it makes it a lot easier to go to sleep. It helps you get up, and then it helps you sleep a lot better too.
You know what? That actually kind of makes sense to me, because we put little kids on sleep schedules, right? It's bedtime. They know it's 6 o'clock, it's 7 o'clock, it's bedtime. We put them to bed, but we also know that our kids are going to get up at 5 or 6 in the morning, no matter what. But they're on that sleep schedule, and that makes perfect sense, because they're growing and they need that sleep and stuff. So I like that one. So I need to turn myself into a little kid, and I need to give myself a bedtime, is what you're telling me.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Like the kids need it about as much as we do, because yes, they're still growing and they absolutely need that sleep, but so do we. We have so much going on in our day. We have to process that. And when we sleep, that's when our body processes everything that went on through the day. And that also helps you de-stress, because your it's putting it away. I like to think of it as your body's taking all of the stuff that happened and putting it in little like file cabinets for future reference. And so it's kind of storing that. And if you don't get enough sleep, or if you have interrupted sleep or whatever, then your body isn't really doing that very well. And it's also not detoxifying as easily and as well, because your body also detoxifies during the night. So that's why sleep is very, very important. And another tip that could help people sleep a little bit better is not having a TV in the bedroom. And I know it's really difficult for some people, because they love to have TV in the bedroom. I actually have it in the bedroom. We do massages every night. But this technology, it can really keep you up. And so that could help people sleep a little bit better. Another one
and
is,
I've heard a lot about that in like blue light.
Yeah.
Is it because of the blue light that comes from that screen?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
And blue light's not really good for your eyes anyways. And then when you're watching it, it kind of keeps you up and kind of wakes you up a little bit. So it doesn't help you sleep.
Yeah. So to add a little bit to that, the photoreceptors at the back of your eye, they pick it up and they think it's daylight. And so your body doesn't make melatonin, or it doesn't release the melatonin, make and release the melatonin that is necessary to go to sleep. So I like that.
Mhm.
TV out of the bedroom.
There you go.
Perfect.
Another one is to create an environment in your room that encourages sleep. So like serene and restful colors and no clutter. Having no clutter in the bedroom can be really relaxing. If you have a lot of clutter in the bedroom, then that can put a lot of stress on you, because you look at it like, oh my gosh, it's so cluttered. Like I know that when I cleaned my room, it was a disaster. Like I had stuff on my dresser, and it was a mess. When I cleaned it up, I slept so much better. I felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. It's amazing what clearing the clutter did for my sleep schedule, for my stress, for everything. And it's also recommended to keep family photos in a different room also, because those can kind of affect the the too. So it kind of just takes away any stressors. And if you have those serene colors, and maybe an essential oil diffuser with lavender can really help. So having that serene environment can really help with that sleep schedule too.
Yeah. And I've noticed for colors, our old bedroom was Shrek green on 3 walls. And one wall was a dark rose color. I called it the rose garden. I actually had a rose crocheted Afghan that I put on the bed that had roses all over it. And I liked the room, but I didn't sleep as well as I do in our new room. And in our new room, my husband actually chose a color, NYPD blue or something, and it's kind of a darker blue. And I love it. I love that room. It's great. It's, the color is very relaxing to me. So I wish you told me this years ago when we were sleeping in the rose garden. Yeah, those were my choices in colors. Did not work. I let my husband choose the colors, and now it's very relaxing.
Well, there you go. Now you know.
Yeah. Blue.
New
York PD blue.
Dark colors help. And that kind of leads me into the next one, having a lot of darkness and quiet. And if you can't get the quiet, then having earplugs can help. And then also like eye shades, the eye masks can help create the darkness and the silence, and that can really help too.
Nice.
The next one is avoiding caffeine, or at least reducing it in the afternoon, because it can make your sleep a lot more restless and a lot worse, because caffeine, like, it's meant to keep you up, and so that's what it's going to do. And so you're supposed to stop drinking it in the early afternoon. So
so I need to not be drinking tea at 8:00 at night is what you're telling me.
If it's caffeinated tea, then no. If it's like,
it's black Earl Grey or jasmine green, yeah.
That could be affecting your sleep, definitely. But if you really like the tea before, then you could switch to like chamomile or something where it's really calming. And they even have like the sleepy time teas.
Yeah, from
that can actually help you sleep. So
okay,
that might be a little bit better than the caffeinated right before bed.
No more Earl Grey. All right.
I know. Maybe in the morning. You can have it in the morning to wake you up. But before bed, that might be keeping you up a little bit.
Perfect. All right.
Avoiding alcohol too. So not only the caffeine, but the alcohol, because yes, it may make you fall asleep really fast, but it also makes your sleep interrupted or really poor quality. I know that when I drink, I'll fall asleep really, really fast, and then I'll wake up at like 3:00 in the morning, be wide awake, and can't get back to sleep. And so it interrupts your sleep, and it doesn't do very well with sleep. Alcohol and sleep don't mix very well.
All right, perfect.
A really cool fact is if you get sunlight during the day, that can help you sleep. So regular exposure to sunlight, at least 20 minutes a day, that can really help, because the light from the sun, it enters your eyes and triggers your brain to release specific chemicals and hormones like melatonin that are vital for healthy sleep and mood and aging. So even getting out and going for a walk at lunchtime, that can help with exercise, that can help with your mood, that can help with a whole bunch of different things.
So take the dog for a walk a couple times a day. That's what
Yes.
you're saying. I'm not going to tell him that because he's going to be really excited.
Yep. And I've got a dog right here jumping up and down trying to get the cat. So he needs to go for a walk too.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got some energy. Another one is eating no later than 2 hours before bed. Because if you eat a really heavy meal prior to bed, then that can lead to a bad night's sleep, and it will impede the body's overnight detoxification process. So if you go to bed at 10 o'clock, don't eat any later than 8 o'clock, because then it will keep you up and mess up the body's detoxification process.
Okay. So is that a full meal or anything at all? Like a snack or?
I would say if you can avoid eating at all 2 hours before, that's going to help you sleep the best. Now, if you absolutely have to, then just try not to have it as heavy, but it would be best not to have any food to at least 2 hours before bed.
Okay.
Yeah. The next one is something, so when we go throughout our day, we have a lot of worries and we have a lot of things going in our heads, and we have so much stuff just running in the back of our minds. And so writing your worries down right before bed, that can really help. Get it on paper. And during your power down hour, how I call it, you write down what's causing you anxiety and make plans for what you can do the next day to reduce your worry. And even writing down your schedule can help you not worry about, oh, what do I have to do today, tomorrow? I have to do this, 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 and this. You write it all down, get it out of your head, and it will really help free your mind and energy to move into deep and restful sleep.
I like that. I think I'm gonna try that. I definitely live on a schedule, a calendar, but I've never tried writing down before I go to bed what my worries are.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool idea. I like that.
I think try it and see how much of a difference it makes, because you get all of that out and then you can just easily fall asleep instead of you're closing your eyes, you're laying down, but your mind is still going, and then it's an hour later, like, okay, why am I not asleep? Yeah.
Right.
That can really help.
Perfect. I like it.
Yeah. So also raising your body's body temperature can be really, really helpful for falling asleep. So taking a hot salt or aromatherapy bath, taking a hot shower, raising this body temperature before bed, it helps induce sleep. And the hot bath is going to relax your muscles, reduce your physical tension, and you can even add the Epsom salts to really help. And then also having a hot water bottle, you can take that hot water bottle and put it in bed. That's going to get your bed nice and warm, and especially in the winter months when it's going to be snowing and super cold, you have that nice warm hot water bottle. You get in, it's nice and warm. You can even cuddle with it if you want. You can put it on your tummy, and this is going to raise your core temperature and help trigger the proper chemistry for sleep. Also, if you have a hot pad, that can really help. The ones that you can plug in, put in the microwave. I have a Warmie, which I just put in the microwave, and it's like a little stuffed animal. So that works really well too.
Excellent. I like that.
Yeah. And
thank you for those really good tips.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they're great, and I've definitely written them down, and there are a couple that I'm going to try. The writing down your worries, I think that's my favorite one for this. So
get those worries out on paper, get them out of your head, and you should be able to sleep a lot better.
Excellent. All right. I want to thank you for joining us, and we will do another vlog soon. And we're actually going to talk a little bit more about the mental and the physical things that happen with stress, what happens to your sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system. So we will be talking about that in another one. Thank you so much. Thanks, Kylie.
Awesome. Thank you.